All things first night. We'll tell you where you can still get your buttons. We'll tell you about the fact that the fireworks are back. And Joyce Kressler will be here to fill us in on all the details and all the great acts. That's coming up a little bit later on in this half hour. Right now, Jack Schofield is with us, centralmassnews.com. Make sure that you check out that website. And Jack, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about this. Now, you don't have, I can't go out to the newsstand and pick up Central Mass News. This is strictly online.
Absolutely. They're hyper-local news sites, and we're developing a network for all of Central Mass right now. Currently we're in Grafton, Millbury, and Northbridge, and we're ready to open Westboro and Shrewsbury, possibly Leicester and Auburn on January, February. Yeah,
that's tremendous expansion, so things have really been taken off. All right, give me a little bit of the business plan. You said hyper-local. So when I go to one of the sites, Milford, for example, Millbury, I'm going to be able to find out everything that is going on in Millbury.
Absolutely. We have everything from the schools to town business to local business advertising. You know, we have a section called the Good News, which is the birth announcements, the wedding engagements, you know, things like that. Everything that's going on in your town that you'd like to know about, we have on our sites.
Boy, Jack, we've been talking for a long time about the fact that, of course, the dailies are in some trouble. The circulation is way down. The advertising is way down. Things such as Craigslist really, gave them a blow to their advertising at the dailies as well. What's the game plan, the business plan, so that a hyperlocal.com actually makes some money doing this?
It all comes in advertising. I actually come from Monster.com, so we took a lot of the newspaper revenue away from the Help Wanteds, obviously. Right. And when I was at Monster, I learned how to develop an audience, and develop an audience quickly to a large scale, and then sell that audience to the local advertisers.
Well, how has it been accepted? The expansion sounds so rapid to me. Are you able to fuel that through advertising in a place like Grafton and Millbury?
Yeah, absolutely. The advertisers, we're up to about 130 advertisers on our 3 different sites, and the results are great. We're hearing good things from our advertisers. They're really reaching the audiences that there wasn't an avenue to reach before, unless you went to something regional like a Telegram or some regional type of website.
Now how do you get the word out that you guys are actually there? Because of course you aren't on the newsstand. Somebody can't just come in and see you every morning. They've got to remember that I'm getting up, I'm getting my coffee, and I want to click on and be able to see what's happening in my community.
Yeah, we did a lot of different things, and we have a big marketing budget plan for 2010. It's a lot of viral, it's a lot of social network. We actually had the politician signs in houses and businesses all around the towns. We sponsored a lot of events.
Yeah, a real grassroots campaign sponsoring the events. Now, you mentioned viral. For those of us not very computer savvy, what does that mean? How does that get the word out?
Like on a Facebook, you put something up that can be forwarded throughout the internet to many different avenues. Sites like something like your site that may have a lot of traffic. We get the word out on your site, let people know. They forward it on, and it just goes from there. It's really word of mouth online is what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's interesting. As you know, Charlene Arsenault, who's one of your reporters, was on the show just a couple of weeks ago, and now that interview showed up on her website, on her Facebook site, and it was amazing to me in the span of 24 hours how many people then click on it and view that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why the sites are so successful. We've had stories that we only have a weekly paper in my town, which is Grafton, and things like a fire at the high school. We had that on our site within 25 minutes after it happened.
Right.
Before the hospital knew that students were coming there, it wasn't a big fire, but there was some smoke inhalation. So we let people know right away it wasn't, there weren't injuries, but the hospital found out about it through our site before the students even got to the hospital.
Now, see, and you can't buy advertising like that. So, so it's the go-to site. When you get a few stories like that, and everybody says, all right, I have to have this site up so that I can constantly be checking because it's going to be constantly updated, and I have to check back 4 or 5 times a day. That really is what built it. Do you have some numbers on how many people are perhaps using it?
Yeah, we have about 64,000 visits a month now, and about 8,000 unique visitors, so that's about 8,000 different computers around the Grafton, Millbury, Northbridge area right now.
Boy, that's very, very impressive. And you really just started up, we're within the first year.
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
We're about 9 months in.
9 months in, wow. Who are the reporters? Who's actually going out and gathering these stories?
Well, you met Charlene. Charlene's doing a great job in Millbury. We have a regional reporter. We have Jennifer Lord-Paluzzi, who's our editor. She comes from Metro West, and she's a BU grad, and she's fantastic. She's really leading the whole editorial side of the company, and I handle the business side of it. So,
what a yeah, I mean, just a fantastic idea. Now, you know, the centralmassnews.com. If you go there, does that give you all the sites? That's like one-stop shopping?
Yeah, and we have a lot of work to do on that, but that's really going to be our directory site where you can go to and find out, you know, the dailyholden.com is where I want to go. I want to see what happened in my mother's town, the Daily Shrewsbury. You know, you can pick and choose your towns, and it's great for advertisers because you can pick and choose where you want to advertise.
Now, does it matter, for example, you just said, you know, I mean, if you start the dailyholden.com, but they already have the Holden landmark, for example, and the Telegram and Gazette does service that that market as well. Competition for you? It helps you if there's more? I mean, what is...
No, it's definitely competition. I think we have a formula that's working right now. I think we do things a little different than those two companies, and you know, we've been successful. We're heading into Westboro and Shrewsbury now, which will be more competition than we've had before, and it'll be a challenge for us. But
now, is it competition reporting-wise, and to get the stories up, and you feel that you're competing with for example, the Telegram.com will get stories up right away. I'm not sure that the Landmark website really does that. I think that's mostly just for their weekly edition. Right. Or is it mostly that when you walk in there, an advertiser says, "Hey, I'm already in the Landmark. I'm already in the T&G. You know, I don't want another one."
Well, the big point is the Holden Landmark is a weekly. You know, the information isn't going to come out right away.
Right.
If they put it on the website, I don't think you can see it for a week.
Right, but I was just thinking, I mean, from an advertising standpoint, I mean, is that what their objection process is? Hey, I'm already spending money here, I'm already spending money there, why should I spend money with you as well?
Yeah, absolutely, but when we can educate them that we have people coming to our site every day, several times a day, your company will be seen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by tens of thousands of visitors, that holds a lot more weight than, you know, a couple thousand newspapers that may or may not reach the end user.
Jack, I mean, who else is doing this? I've heard this term that you used at the very beginning of our conversation, hyperlocal, quite a bit. I mean, and it seems as if some big papers, I mean, I think I heard it from the New York Times, that they were exploring hyperlocal.
Yeah, there's some big companies, even AOL put out a company where they're trying to do somewhat what we do, but they're using, you know, scraping and aggregating, which is basically taking any information you can find on the internet and put it in Grafton.
I see. All right. So if you were to put it in, you know, right, I want news from Grafton, then they might be able to have it right there for you, but they aren't actually out as you are gathering this news and putting it together. Now, when you have a single reporter, it's going to be more or less a single reporter for each of these communities. Shrewsbury will have a single reporter?
Maybe more than a single.
Maybe more than a single reporter.
We already have somebody lined up for that position, and we have a regional reporter ready to work it with them. And it's a huge market. It's 38,000 people, so
it is a lot.
It may take more, but
7 days a week.
Yep, we work 7 days a week. We update, you know, 24/7. Something happens during the night, you know, we hear sirens or whatever.
Right. I mean, whoever is working that, it's kind of a neat job. I mean, because they're working 24 hours a day, you're not always on. But as you said, if all of a sudden your beeper goes off, or you got the scanner in the house and you're hearing a lot of activity, hey, all of a sudden you're working. Right. You know, 9 to 5, there may not be much going on. 2 in the morning, all of a sudden there may be something that pops. I'm kind of curious about that too, though. I mean, on average, how many news stories can you put up a day? I mean, how many news stories can, say, a Charlene Arsenal do in a day?
Well, you'd be surprised. I mean, I bet the Charlene puts up 5, 6, 7 different stories a day.
Wow.
You know, good stories about important things happening in town management, or, you know, the school systems, but also the fun stuff, you know, like I said.
Well, this is the other thing that I was thinking about, too. I mean, you know, when you're hyper-local, I mean, in Shrewsbury or in Grafton, is there enough going on that you would put up those 4 or 5 stories a day every day?
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
When you look at the weeklies and there's, you know, a couple stories and a few things added in here and there, you wouldn't think so. But when you have somebody working 24/7, going to all the events and going to the meetings, you'd be surprised how much information.
Are there times, though, Jack, when it can be too local? When you say, okay, wait a minute, this story is too local.
No, that's what we want. You know,
that's part of the charm of it, really.
Everyone wants to know what's happening down the street, or at their son's school, or, you know, at anything that's going on in their town.
No, it's a brilliant business plan. I wish I had thought of it. But I am kind of amazed, and I guess if just looking at it from a business standpoint, The rapid expansion, I mean, how are you able to fuel that kind of growth to put in 2 more communities already so that now, you know, you're going to be up to 5, you're going to be up to 7, you're going to be up to 10? I mean, are they all self-sustaining?
They will be, yes.
Yeah.
You know, the ones we have now, Grafton, Millbury, and Northbridge, are doing well, so they have allowed us to move on and move on quickly, which is good.
Yeah, boy, that is fantastic. Jack, what else do we need to kind of know about the operation? And if people want to contribute, is there a way for them to be able to contact you?
Yep, on every site
well?
you can add information